Yeah, he was just here actually,
Oh yeah,
recording a
yeah.
new Jira Guy episode.
He's been recording incessantly. Anybody here? No, it's just us. All right, well, we're recording it because why not? Oh, hey, Sajid.
So give somebody a minute.
What's up, dude? Hey, welcome to Team.
Hey Daryl, how are you?
Hey, good. Welcome to Team Europe. Steve, you guys met
Hey
before?
Steve.
I don't think so.
Wait, Sajid, Quizmaster Sajid, yes?
That is right.
Yeah. So, quiz,
I've
refer to
seen.
the
I
quiz. Yes,
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 I've
yes, yes,
done.
yes,
I
yes, yes.
It's good to know that one thing that I'm known for is not my work, but something that I do in the community.
fine. It's all fine. Yeah,
That that feels like it actually is part of community. It's building community,
Somehow,
right?
yeah,
It's building community.
yeah, it
So here,
is.
yeah, let me give you a quick view of
Nice.
Europe or Barcelona from the inside of a conference room that looks like many, many other conference.
we could be
Yeah,
anywhere.
it's exactly the same place where it was in 2018, right?
Oh, did you go?
Yeah,
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 2018 when
yeah.
I was there.
Zui, from Amsterdam. I'm really
Sue,
bad. Sue,
Sue.
Zoo. Yeah, she said, yeah, same location. So she knew where it was. All of us new first timers, they're like, stay in this hotel. And we're like, cool, it looks like it's across the street. And then it's like a mile
Yeah,
away, half a mile away. People are sweating
nice.
to get there. Anyways, what the heck? I even put together agenda. Let me share my screen. It's like I threw this together literally at 5 in the morning when I couldn't sleep anymore. And it's like, oh, it'd be fun talking about nonsense. Where is my doc? Google Doc. Yeah, here we go. So where's the view to make it full screen there? It's close enough. So yeah, basically I was just kind of thinking like I missed where there was more technical uh sessions and I realized I could make my own. Um I don't know, Shajid, if at like summits you went to or at Barcelona, if they had already stopped doing something called ShipIt, which is where they
Yeah,
they
yeah.
it,
Till 2019, I think they did it. Even 29 Vegas one, they had ship it.
oh
After
wow.
that, they've stopped
Oh,
it.
yeah, I think they had ShipIt in 2019. Yeah,
Yeah. The last time I didn't go to Las Vegas, the first Las Vegas. Um, but yeah, I think they still had it in like the San Francisco, San Jose ones as
they
well.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
Um,
Usually right at the end of the day,
yeah, and they
the
like
very last thing.
and they rolled out taps
Yeah.
and there was like
Yeah.
beer
Yeah,
available.
so you
So
could vote for the best thing with your phone.
yeah, they had an app
Yes.
and everything. Yeah. So I don't have any voting, I don't have any beer, but I do have some nasty hacks to share. So
Nice.
oh, I gotta share my whole screen because it was actually a really ugly thing I did for work. So I'll start with what I was talking with Steve about yesterday, and we took the opportunity to go yell at. No, we gave constructive feedback to the automation
Mhm.
guys because I gave the same talk I did in Las Vegas for automation, and Rodney, the Jira guy, and Dan Toombs, we give the same advice as always, like try to be organized. And yeah, automation's great, except that like all the Jira admin, all the project admins are going to create a million rules, and it's going to be like chaos to figure out um, when somebody leaves. Or Steve's dream would be, could he get notified when there's a new one? Um, could we have better sorting? Because if you look at automation rules, the current UI, it's definitely very limited, and that was one of the things we were yelling about. So yeah, probably like there's a lot of you can't sort. You can sort by updated. There, one thing you can sort by. You
Yeah.
can sort by enabled. And that's it. And then
And you have to do that every time you visit.
Yeah,
As well, 'cause
see-
it doesn't remember your settings.
yeah. There's no personal persistence on this. So as a little like thing I was playing with, not for this reason, I figured out a way to make my own Jira automations thing. And it's a table with like links to the rules. This will actually open up the rule for editing. But I also have every column sorted because I'm using so this is table filters and charts from Stiltsoft. And so any table that you give it is immediately sortable. And then you can even add additional filters here. I want to sort by author. And then and all of these things are nice and available. So it's like fully the full filtering capabilities. But I also have usage and a lot and then all this other metadata. So the question is, how did I get all this? And that's where the nastiness comes in. Because if we look at the page, this is a giant CSV, or no, this is an attached CSV, and then table filter lets you point to the attachment and show that. And then there's another table because of GDPR or because of Atlassian's excuse always is GDPR. It has a lookup table of all the users and the email addresses. So how did I
You
get?
basically have to update this every time you add a new automation rule.
Yeah. So that's why it's such a hack. So you'd have to have a Linux box or a Mac somewhere that's always running, and then you set up a cron job. So it definitely ain't like a self-contained thing. It's a lot of dependencies, but I'm very used to like, let me just write a script to do a thing and it'll do the thing. So if we want to look at the nastiness that this is, basically, I dug into the automation rules pages a while ago because automation rules lets you do export. And so this export rules thing, and if you use developer tools, you can see what calls it's making. And so if you do export rules and you're looking at network and you do export rules, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff here. And I've looked through it before, but oh no, you gotta hit next. And so if I clear this out and then hit next, you see there's a command called export.
Handy.
And so you just copy and paste that thing.
Yeah.
And that kicks off the export. The tricky part is it now takes a while when you only had 10 rules, or in the old days, you just would have to wait. And then the download would start immediately. But now they've built a queuing system. And so there's another call that is this call here that says progress.
Yeah.
And it's always checking so that it can update the little progress bar.
Yeah.
So if I was actually a real programmer, I would like check the progress bar and see when it gets to like 100% and then try to download the file. But I'm a hack, so I just have it sleep for 60 seconds. So that when you run the export command, it returns back an ID of the request. So the response here is this is the ID for your rules export. And so I just save that. And then I wait 60 seconds and then I try downloading it. And so far it hasn't taken more than 60 seconds.
Depends on how many rules you.
It says, and like we got 400 rules, so it
shouldn't take
pretty good.
60
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah. It hasn't taken 60 seconds before. 60 seconds is plenty of time for 400 rules. But yeah, then I use the download link because when it says it's done, there's another button. And again, with developer tools, I clear it out and hit done. And it's like, oh, it made a call right at the beginning called download.
Yeah.
And so you just copy and paste that.
Export, progress, download.
Yep. and you're good to go. Yeah, and so you've done exports before, you know, it comes in as a JSON file.
It does, yeah.
And so it's a huge JSON file because it includes all of the actual content of the rule. The add-on that I'm using here, table filters and charts, it's a really amazing add-on. If you wanted to, you could do table from JSON, and it will actually extract all the stuff from an attached JSON file, which I have here. Rules there. So, no.
That saves a lot of prep
Yeah,
with
yeah,
your JSON files.
yeah. It's a really cool add-on. The problem is that it has to parse it every time.
So,
And the JSON file is so big.
so it can be a blank screen for a few seconds.
Exactly. So yeah, I was doing that originally. And so if I do automation rules, I think I still have it attached. Maybe not. Let me look at my attachments. But basically the add-on looks at your it can turn any attached file into a table. And then with table filters, it can filter any tables. And then they also have a feature that lets you merge two tables, like with SQL. It's like such a crazy hacky tool. So yeah, I have JSM automation rules, JSON. So if I wanted to do that table from JSON, it doesn't have a very good file picker, obviously. JSON automation rules, Jira automation. Oh no, it's going for URL. Sorry, that's my dumb. There. Yeah.
Now it sees it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and you can have an external source.
Right.
So for other purposes, this thing is really cool. I don't know if they let you do authentication. Maybe basic. Oh yeah, and they let you do authentication too. So this
you
is
can
like
run this. You can run this script on a cron job somewhere else.
yeah,
and then
yeah,
just
yeah.
point it to the
Yeah,
URL.
right,
and
right,
then
right.
automatically have your table filled.
Yeah, although I scripted uploading.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's also an option.
So that's my option because I didn't want to have it to store it someplace. So yeah, you do the JSON, you can give it the path to the node, whether you want to expand everything, the encoding, and then it will all come in. But like we have to sit here for a while because this is 400 items or 300 some odd items that it's parsing into a ginormous table. And one of the columns is going to be the rule itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've got like a whole bunch of stuff. Like this stuff is like notify the first time, right? Updated. But then way over here, oh, trigger could, I did expand. So this is actually breaking it out into
Wow.
subtables. So I didn't want all that.
This looks nicer than basically editing the JSON in a text editor, which I've been doing.
Oh, yeah. So, but speaking of editing, so I wanted to make it faster. So I just wanted the columns I wanted. I definitely didn't want to include the whole rules. So that's where a tool called JQ comes in. And so JQ is kind of like awk and it kind of like grep for JSON files. So this command here, JQ, it says for the automation rules, the automation rules JSON, for every rule, give me the ID, name, state, description, created, updated, and export it as a CSV format. So it's this single command line that can parse the JSON file, extract just the elements that you want for each element of the array, and then it dumps it into a CSV file.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so if we go to Roku, it's just a much smaller file because it's just the CSVs. Yeah. Whereas the JSON file, and JQ is great if you just want to read a file, because if you just do JQ dot and then the automation rules, it formats it really nicely. Also, like if you bring it into Firefox, Firefox has a built-in JSON viewer, so then it formats it nicely and you can collapse. There's an extension for Chrome called JSON Viewer that's what I use, and it formats it really nicely. And I think actually Chrome has a built-in one, but it's not as it doesn't do it as nicely as the extension does. But yeah, so this is the JSON, but I don't need all the actual rules itself for management. So then I use that JQ command, and it parses it into a nice CSV. Yeah, and so then because of user IDs don't have an email address or a name, I need to make a lookup table.
Yeah.
So I use JQ again, and I just get the ID.
Yeah.
And the ID, all of the unique IDs for authors. I probably should get, I'm not tracking actors, but you could also do it for actors as well. And then I use the Unix sort command and only get it unique ones, because I don't, if I'm the author for 5, I only need to look it up one time.
That's right.
And so I what am I doing here? Oh, this is the header. So I add this to the where is that? That should be at the beginning. This is out of order. How is this working at all? All right. So that puts the header, and then this adds it to the to that file. And then this is all bash shell scripting, but like if you had PowerShell or something, you could do something like this too, where it just loops through every line. And then it's making a curl call that is the call to look up the account ID, and it returns back JSON. And so then I'm using JQ again to say, just give me the account ID, the email address, and display name as a CSV. So then I get a nice author map.
That's handy to be. You could use that in many places.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that, and then I run the curl command to attach the files. And so I've like up at the top, I've got the page ID. And so I run the command to attach the rules CSV and the author map CSV to the page. And then at that point, technically I'm done, because the macros take care of it. Because I'm always keeping the same file name, it just adds it as another version, which is really nice. Because then you have versioning, sort of. You have versioning of your rules. Let's see, I'm not even adding a flag like which version. It just automatically gets next version. So if you look at my attachments and we look at usage or automation rules, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay,
Every time it
attachment
uploads, it uploads over the old one.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just and updates the version.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last piece that's kind of fun is that in automation rules, you've got usage. And it's also, you could do usage current month, September, whatever. Also an API call, a very easy API call. So again, if I change it to September, it says highest usages limit 100 month 2024. And I don't know how
Is this a documented API?
No, no, no,
Atlassian?
it's all undocumented.
Okay.
It's all undocumented.
That's what I thought.
Totally
I
undocumented.
was looking for it myself.
No, no. What I wanted to share is like, I'm totally doing this all the time. I'm like looking at the developer panel going, oh, what internal calls they're making. And so I grab that. And so that goes into usage. I'm using again, does that just come as a CSV already? Oh, that's nice. No. I have to parse it here. So Jake, I'm parsing it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, and that one's easy. It's just, I know I need the rule ID and execution count, just how many times it's run. And then I upload the usage file, and that's also nicely versioned. So I've done it like 15 times. And then the last thing, which is my favorite hacky thing because Bob Swift did it, is he has an ACLI action called modify page. And it lets you do find replace with regex.
Ooh.
And so I look for the phrase last updated and the macro for time, and I just replace it with the current date. So after the script runs, and we'll run it, it's going to take at least a minute because I have it sleeping for 60 seconds.
That's fine.
But we'll see that the attachments get updated. And then the fun thing is that it then updates the last updated. And so when we see it, I don't think it happens in real time, but when it's done, it should say today's date for last updated. These are some old just standalone uploads that my colleague did. And then I was like, oh, we already have a page for automation rules. I'll just have my script right to this. Oh, it didn't say my settings. Let's add some filters. Author. Created, yeah, sure. So if you save, like I've had table filters at other companies, and it's so nice because the sorting on data center server, you didn't need this one. I have to put it inside a macro. In data server, every table automatically got filter settings. It's really slick, but because on cloud, it's different. You have to put the tables inside of a table filter macro, but that's all you have to do. There's no other configuration. And so then it's all configured here. Show me the enabled ones or not. Search by author, Matt Babineus, Rails. It's like so nice. Anyways, let's see if script is done. Still running. Also, it has to pull them from Barcelona or wherever the data center. Oh, we're in California. I know we're in US East. So it might be a while. But yeah, that's the deal. And then what else was I gonna say about that? I don't know. So that's a hack. I don't know. I kind of like wanted to, I don't know if it's even an article, but to demo all of the like the developer panel stuff, you really kind of have to see how it's working. It's hard to like write an article about that, but that's how I've done a ton of stuff. I have the discovered products page, like who has accidentally created a site now.
Yeah.
And you had to get a trial to see this page. Right.
Yeah.
So while you have the trial, save this endpoint and see if it works after you cancel your trial.
I will.
Because you click on export to CSV.
Yeah.
And it does a batch thing, and it says somewhere, I can't remember. I don't know. I had to dig it out because the website did weird stuff, but I actually documented that someplace else. And that one, I guess they hope that you don't have so many that they have to do it in a queue. So it's just a single command, and it should spit you out a CSV in response. But yeah, I think I was pondering, because it's such a pain in the butt to do it. I was like, well, in theory, I could do this export and then parse the CSV because it includes the person that created it. And like, and then write a script to email that person my form letter.
Yeah, we've got a canned response.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like, it's super annoying, but yeah, because you get back a CSV that has the data you need. And then I really want to like, is there a way I can automate creating a ticket with Atlassian support to say, please delete this site? Because yeah, you get all the data. You actually get more data than's on the UI. You get the user count, or maybe it's there. Oh yeah, it's all there. But there was something that was like harder to see. Created by last active. Status details. That's really, yeah, they don't show that. And that's good. Like, oh, the site is finally suspended, or the site is like suspended for destruction. I think that means I can
Stage some
delete it.
clicks.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the other undocumented API that I started poking into. Audit logs. You're asking about audit. Somebody asked a question on community this morning or last night, and they said, can you download audit logs?
Well, probably.
And I said, I don't know, let me find out. And so same thing. Reload. Too much data. Let me go back. The trick is clearing this and then just clear. Stop loading. Audit log. All right. And it's usually the first and early one. Audit log. You can also search this. And so it's a good bet, like audit. So yeah. So the call is, and it's thankfully pretty straightforward. Internal API. This is your, I think this is your instance ID.
Yeah.
Tenant ID. And then pro rest global blah 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 audit log. Offset 0, limit 50. So if it's multiple pages, you have to do the whole pagination thing and start at the different offset, but they're all there. And I checked out this endpoint.
Wow.
And it's like,
there it is.
That's pretty good. So yes, you can download all your audit logs.
Undocumented.
Yeah, more undocumented. I love it. So that's a lot.
All
I
right.
used up all the time.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you got? Anything cool?
Not as cool as that. No.
Sajid?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Nothing as cool as this. I mean, I've never actually gone into this and started. It feels like this should be illegal. They should somewhere. Yeah, it feels like it should not. It should either be a feature or not allowed. But it's great that yeah.
Well, I mean, I had started writing a whole introduction for an article, which was like, if you go back to the beginning of the web, the way that me and everybody else around that time learned to make web pages is by doing, oh, they make it hard now. I know the keyboard shortcut, view source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, how do you change the color? Oh, there's this thing called background color. Oh, okay. How do you change the title? Oh, there, right?
Yeah.
This is really just a fancier version of that in my mind.
Yeah.
Yes, everything is like fancy APIs and JavaScript, but if the people writing the tool are kind of not idiots, they're probably using best practices and they're probably using an API. And so it's like, they can't hide that. And so it's there. I think what Atlassian will always say is that's an undocumented API. You absolutely cannot build any production workflows around that, which is 100% true. But I'm not like triggering builds off of this information. We're just trying to like manage the system, get a handle on when somebody created a new rule was what Steve was saying. So yeah, cron job to dump it and just get like a CSV. And
Yeah.
then the next day the count is more than one, or it's a diff.
That's right. And you do a
Here's
diff,
the new
Yeah.
one.
Here's
And
the new
here
one.
and here's the actor.
and you could
And
probably send it, email it to you as well if
100%.
you're running it as
Yeah.
well.
100%.
And then you just get the new one emailed.
I love it. I mean, I started out as a Unix system administrator, and it's all crap like my script, which is all short little commands and chaining them together
Mhm.
and doing all this stuff. And so for me, like, it's really natural. Like, oh, these are just, once you get the API, you're like, okay, I know what the link is, and then curl. I know it's making a web call to that, and then JQ lets you parse out the stuff. So that's amazing. That's an amazing tool. But then it's like it's a CSV. You know, if you don't want to buy this filter, fine. Use Excel and do a lookup table, or Google Sheets and
Yep.
do whatever you want to do with it, whatever you have at your disposal. But yeah, once you get into these common formats like JSON, CSV, or whatever, is like super powerful, or you can do whatever you want with it, and you're not reliant on their UI and just what they give you. So that's
What was the table add-on that you were using, Darren?
table filter and charts. Oh yeah, let me show you the SQL part. So nasty. This is amazing. I didn't even know about the SQL thing until my users used it and had problems. And I'm like, what is this? This is so gross. It's so crazy. So this is the add-on. It's from Stiltsoft. And yeah, they also like let you build charts from it. It's like basically like, yeah, it's amazing plugin. They've been around forever. The cloud one is pretty good too. Oh, and you can treat Jira macros as a table. And so that's what yeah.
Wow.
So if I can find it.
It's a pity they're not here.
Like any Jira Mac?
I think, well, like tabular ones.
Tabular one.
Yeah. Let me see if Liz has got one for us. I don't know. So what the UX team does is they have lots of stuff that's being tracked, issues being tracked, and then they have a screenshot that shows what the feature is supposed to look like. And because Jira macros can't include images, even like something like, I only have one attachment, can you show me one attachment in line? No, it will not do that. So what she figured out was she maintains a separate table with screenshots of the issues. And then that's the key that she uses. And so the way that the SQL works is it's this thing called table transformer. And I'm using table toolbox because I also have to get the filter added into it. But this table transformer, you have to nest it. You used to be able to nest macros in Confluence, and now you can't. So the vendors added nesting within their macro. But table transformer, it's a SQL query, which is wild, right?
Wow.
And so it looks complicated, but I'm using format wiki so that I can have it link to the rule itself. But then when you get to this part, it's like, okay, well, and then what are we showing? I'm showing the description, the execution count, the state. I use their functions to format the date.
What flavor of SQL is this?
It's their own kind of custom thing. They have it all documented, like the functions available.
Okay.
I guess, oh, here, it's powered by the Ala SQL library. I don't know.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
But I'm only familiar with MySQL, and it all feels pretty natural to me.
Okay.
So it's probably closest to MySQL, or I mean, it's fairly close to MySQL for me. But yeah, and then here's the key part: join. So on the author account ID equals the ID from the lookup table.
Yeah.
That's how I'm then able to bring in the name, the display name, and the email.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. when they showed me what they were doing, I was like, oh my God. Because yeah, they have it running against Jira tables. And so being able to merge or join tables, and you can do multiple tables, it's a mind-boggling thing. So almost this is my ad for Stiltsoft. It
Yeah.
and it also feels a little hacky, but this is like
Yeah.
a paid
I
product.
would have expected this from maybe Confluence databases. But
Yeah.
this is way better.
It probably is, right? Like
I
it,
think
it
I
could
talked.
possibly be a thing.
I
Yeah.
think so.
I talked with databases. We could go over and talk with databases now, or somebody in Confluence. Because I think I did ask that question, or somebody who was at the table was like, well, can you combine it with other stuff? And they're like, not yet, or that's an interesting idea, but maybe I'll go over and, since we're here, go bug some people and ask them. Because yeah, it absolutely ought to be something that you could do with databases. But there are limitations in databases for what types of data you can import into it. I think that was probably one of the concerns, was not concerns, but the limitations. Like,
Awesome. Daryl, this
yeah,
was great, man. This definitely something that I'm going to dig into and going to look into that app. And
yeah,
there are so many use cases that are coming into my mind, not just the ones that you showed, but
yeah,
like I think I'm going to have one of my team members just have a little more digging to done on like these internal APIs, because if I can
yeah.
find something, yeah, maybe we can create our own hidden list of internal APIs that we are able to build on.
Yeah. No. There's so much stuff that you can do that is really pretty fun and interesting once you just start poking around. Yeah. So this is letting you do this is Confluence databases. But I don't know that they have this sort of advanced querying across.
Yeah.
They have different views, but we want to do a join, right? That would be next step.
I don't think they're going to introduce SQL. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
That they
It would.
I was taking the ACP 520, and one of the questions was AI lets you create SQL queries. It helps you with your SQL queries. I'm like, for what? And I was cramming, so I didn't dig in very deeply. But after the test, it turns out that data analytics, if you pay for the analytics and the data lake stuff and you add a source, one of the ways that you can query that is with SQL.
Okay.
And so you could go select user issues from such and such, whatever. Because I was like super confused. I'm like, AI is generating SQL queries. So when you talk to your database directly, like in data center, and it was like, no. It's for the data analytics stuff.
Yeah.
So they're not completely averse to the idea of providing some sort of SQL interface to stuff. Yeah, it's not very user friendly. So whether they'd add it to the database product, which feels a little more like Microsoft Access,
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Like a database light.
Yeah. But I mean, there probably the pieces are there where they could. Anyways, I appreciate you joining so much. Otherwise, it would have. I mean, not that I wouldn't have loved to share that.
No,
Not that I didn't love sharing it with you.
I showed an interest in it yesterday.
Yeah.
So
That that sparked my idea that I must have, when I was sleeping, that it rolled around in my brain. The other thing that rolled around in my brain to do this was like somebody saying, yeah, teams, they don't, at summits, teams, they don't do that kind of thing anymore. And it's like, yeah, I know.
Anymore.
It's really sad. But I
Totally.
can do it.
Yeah.
All right, the Zoom's about up because
Nice. Thanks. Yeah.
good seeing you, man. Take
Thanks,
care.
Daryl. Same
Thanks for
here.
coming.
Yeah. See you guys. Bye.
All right. Oh, that's fun. That's cool.